Good Thursday morning, South Carolina weather watching. I'm your meteorologist, Joseph Peterson, and let's go in and talk about the weather for your Thursday. Starting off, what is going on right now throughout the entire state of South Carolina? Well, we do have some rainfall towards the coastal areas, and that's the main part that we're kind of looking at right now, and that is expected. You see, we have some rainfall with maybe some storm activity going on near Edisto Beach, over here inside of, or just to the east of Port Royal. And then also, we have some shower activity up just to the south of Georgetown as well. And Myrtle Beach getting in on some rainfall activity. And overall, I mean, that's pretty much about it throughout the state. Now, what about in terms of the entire U.S.? We do have some rainfall with even some flash flooding ongoing inside of Missouri, Illinois getting in on some rainfall, Kansas getting in on some rainfall, Oklahoma, some storm activity over there. We have some more rainfall activity in Indiana, Ohio, also over inside of New Mexico and Arizona. Now, what's going on in terms of cloud cover? We do have cloud cover in the upstate, the Midlands, the PD, the Grand Strand, all of these areas kind of receiving some cloud cover activity as we move over into today. And if we move over into that cloud cover into the future, looks like that cloud cover will continue to kind of move its way in as we get all the way to around 6 p.m. all the way to 8, p.m. into tonight. And it's going to stay with us all the way. Here's 12 o'clock in the morning. Look how cloudy it gets as we move over into tonight. Now, for our current temperatures here, we're talking about 77 in Somerville, 79 Charleston, Beaufort, even 80 in Myrtle Beach, 79 Murray's Inlet, and 77 in Conway, 77 Florence, and 76 in Columbia, 73 Greenwood, Greenville, Spartanburg, Gaffney, York, and also inside of Rock Hill. Now, for our air quality, looking like that we are all mostly good, but a couple of us inside that yellow moderate category. So if you are inside the yellow category down there near Charleston, North Charleston, down there just to the west of those areas and to the north in the Tri-County area, make sure that you're paying attention for that air quality for today. High temperatures for today, we're talking about 87 in Greenville, 87 Spartanburg, 88 Rock Hill, 91 Columbia, 92 Orangeburg, 91 in Walterboro, 85 in Charleston, 87 Georgetown, 86 Myrtle Beach, and 88 in Hilton Head Island. For our heat index values, we're talking about hundredths for a good amount of us, even up to maybe 105 for some of us today. And it starts to expand out a little bit. We're starting to see more days of more expansion of this 100-degree mark as we move over into the next couple of days here. And we'll definitely see that into next week. But 100 degrees, Midlands, low country, areas of the PD areas as well. Now, as we go over into our winds for today, winds are going to be calm, 5 to 10 miles per hour, maybe even less than that. And if we go into those wind gusts, around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Rainfall over the next 24 hours, around a hundredth of an inch to a tenth of an inch for areas like Camden, Sumter, also maybe a tenth of an inch to a quarter of an inch in Cheraw, going on into Florence, Moncks Corner, Walterboro, and then maybe even a quarter of an inch to a half an inch in areas like Aiken and Charleston. So we have a couple of areas that we could potentially get up to around a quarter of an inch to a half an inch, tenth of an inch to a quarter of an inch, hundredth of an inch to a tenth of an inch. It's all of the above there. And that's what we can see as we move over into today, moving into the next 24 hours. Now for the SPC outlook, thunderstorm activity is possible throughout the entire state. Doesn't matter where you are, thunderstorm activity is indeed possible. And then for excessive rainfall wise, we do have a risk of some isolated flash flooding as we move over into today. So if you are a part of that group, which is everybody, you have to watch out for isolated flash flooding today. Now for the crazy score, right now we're at an 8. South Carolina is enjoying calm conditions on an average basis throughout the state. Yeah, there is rainfall going on throughout a good amount of these areas, but for the majority of us looking good and seeing some calm conditions right now. Now, as we move over into the models, time is at the bottom part of your screen. Make sure that you go and pay attention to that. We start off here 8 o'clock in the morning, and just as we push this forward, rainfall activity will continue to kind of trail into those coastal areas and move inland as we move throughout the day. Here's around 1 p.m. going all the way to 2 p.m. or so. And look at all this shower and storm activity starting to trail inward towards the Midlands, towards the PD areas. And as we get to around 4 p.m. all the way to 6 p.m. or so, rainfall activity continues to move its way in. And it stays in that low country area, moving into like the late evening. But then as we get more into like the nighttime hours, it leaves the low country, it leaves the Grand Strand, even tries to leave the PD a little bit, and kind of just more trend towards that upstate area, which that is what we kind of saw last night. Last night we kind of saw that to where as we moved more into the nighttime hours, the upstate got more of the activity here. So how much rainfall could we potentially see? Well, for right now, it does look like, let me go in and get this. There we go. Looks like for the most part that some spots could get, of up to an inch to 2 inches, 3 inches or so. I think this area right here is in 5 inches. So, the possibility is there. And that's why we have that risk of isolated flash flooding because, you know, anybody in this area could receive a good, couple of inches of rainfall, even though it's not forecasted. This forecast right here does not include really flash flooding or storms like that that could produce a bunch of rainfall. So this is almost like kind of like a bare minimum forecast if you do get some rainfall. But that's pretty much all I have to say here in terms of the models there. And so nothing in terms of the tropics. I will be back tonight, 8 o'clock p.m. It's the drought forecast time, 8 o'clock p.m. Make sure that you're there for that. It's going to be very interesting. Very excited to see this drought update due to all the rainfall that we got last week. Very excited to see it. But I'll be back tonight, 8 o'clock p.m. Make sure that you're there for that. Hit those two buttons before you leave if you're new.